Next up, we're going to drop 3 elements on here: a square, a triangle, and a circle. So, I'm going to click on the square. And now, notice by default, Illustrator has a fill and a stroke. A fill and a stroke. And that is going to determine what your square looks like. So we're going to have a white square with a black stroke with these current settings. Now instead of clicking and dragging, I'm going to click. And when you click with these tools, the tools that are buried under here, you get the last size rectangle you drew. I'm going to go with 600, tab 600, and notice it's not inches because we're working with pixels. We set up our document correctly. If yours says IN by any chance, go back and do the first video over because you didn't do it right. Now, I don't want a white square. I want a red square. So I can select from 16.7 million colors here, or have my hands tied and I only get a few color selections. To speed things up, I'll go ahead and select this red. All right, so our square is red, but it has a black stroke. We don't want a black stroke. We want to take that stroke off, make it nothing. Now we have a red square that's 600 pixels by 600 pixels. Cool. Let's make a circle. We grab the ellipse tool. And once again, just click. And this remembers the last ellipse that was drawn. Now for the width and height, let's make it the same size. 600, 600. I'm hitting tab to move through these text fields. Then I'm going to click OK. But I don't want it to be red. Let's let it be blue or green, huh? We'll let this be green. Now, I want a triangle. So we'll select the polygon tool and click. And a triangle, what does that mean? Does it have 3 sides? Now here is a challenge. What is the radius of a triangle? This is mind-boggling. We're just going to have to guess. I don't know. Let's say 300. We're working with 600, right? Will 300 work? Let's drop that in and change this to blue. So we have red, blue, and green, right? That triangle looks smaller to me. What about you? Does it look smaller than the others? Well, let's arrange them. Put your red square on one side, excuse me, your green square or circle on the other, and our blue triangle in the middle. Well, we can definitely see this is smaller. Let's move this over and let it snap to the bottom of that square. Grab a corner and don't stretch the pizza. Hold down Shift and then move it till it snaps right to the top of that square. Then we can move it over. Again, it doesn't matter if they're all arranged funkily. And go ahead and use, with all 3 selected, I just clicked and dragged to select all 3. And then we want to place these to align them. We have to check, what are we aligning to? By default, this is aligned to Artboard. And if it's aligned to Artboard and I click this, it's going to put them on the bottom of the Artboard. And that's not what I want. Command Z to undo. What I want is to align these to the selection. Now, when I say align to the bottom, they all drop to the bottom. Click to deselect. Now these are kind of spaced out a little too much, so I'm going to move this in and then make sure that I've done this again. Illustrator remembers your last selection, so it's going to be aligned to the bottom. But that triangle's not in the center, is it? What if we could distribute these? Now we don't want to do it from distribute right, because that's not really going to work. You see that triangle? It's moving from this point and this point and this point. What about from the center of each one? That's what this means. We're going to distribute them from the center. Now we can change this to align to artboard and put these in the center right here. Vertical align center. Now we are, and then vertically align middle, horizontally, excuse me, Command Z. I'm going to undo that. That didn't work at all, did it? These are 3 individual objects. For a second, I'm going to group them. Object, group, Command G. Now, when we align these to the center horizontally, the whole group moves independent of as a whole and centers. Now, I'm going to ungroup those because I want to be able to select one at a time. Because we have a problem. We made these visually the exact same size, each and every one of them. Look, see the box? Each and every one is the exact same height. So, why does the square look larger than these two? And why does the circle look smaller? What we have is the difference between mathematical size and centering and visual size. For this triangle to appear the same size as the square and the circle, it's got to be a little larger. It's still got to sit on this baseline. But it has to be somewhat larger. Once again, hold down Shift and start to pull it up. And you're going to have to play with this. Now it looks a little too big, doesn't it? Now with the circle, it needs to grow, because if I pull this over and hold down Shift and drop it right on the square, you can see it fits nicely inside that square. But undo, Command Z, it looks smaller than that square. And this time, I just can't hold down Shift and start to drag. I need to hold down Option as well and make it slightly larger. And then we see that the triangle is taller than both the circle and the square. The circle is larger than the triangle. It drops below the line. Your task is to visually arrange these so that the triangle doesn't look bigger than the others. It looks the same size. This is a visual challenge. Plus, we centered these things mathematically. Look at them. Don't they look low on the page? These objects have weight. They need to move upwards, and I'm using the up arrow key rather than trying to move them with the mouse, trying to find the center. So I want you guys to work on that while I go away and make the next video.